Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the class BMN 521 seminar in Buddhist terminology. Today's date is January 23rd, 2023. This is the second session, because last week was holiday. Martin Luther King holiday. So today is the second session, second week. I hope everyone is doing great. So welcome aboard. And as we discussed on the first day, we were looking at the syllabus and what is expected in this class, and doing our study plan. So you know what it is now, okay? So today, last week I gave you the project, sort of project, not a big project, but some homework to do some little research on the Pali Canon. I know out of your assignments, your homework, I came to know that you have done some research, and I have the assumption that you now know the contents and what is in there in the Pali Canon. Pali Canon, Tripitaka, 3 baskets. So we are focusing on the English translations of the English terms and technical terms of Buddhism. So we have to focus on those things. So 3 Pitaka, or the 3 baskets, or Pali Canon. And today we are going to look at different translations that are there right now, as of now. What sort of translations, English translations, available in the world? So the other day I mentioned that translating Buddhist texts, or the Pali Canon, started in the late 19th century, 1890s. Yes, in 1890s. That is the Pali Text Society. We will be looking at Pali Text Society hopefully next week. So I'm not going to elaborate, go into detail about what Pali Text Society and all that. Let's see it in the next class. But before that, we have to look at available English translations right now. And also, let me talk a little bit about the, there are 3 words that you need to understand. One is translation, second one is transliteration, and the third one is interpretation. I hope you know the meanings of these words. Translation, you translate from one language to another language. You are trying to be faithful to the original text, and you are going to put that original text into a different language. So in this sense, Pali Canon, Pali Tripitaka, you are translating it to English, means you are putting exact as much as possible the exact meaning of the terms, exact meaning of the idea, context in the Pali text, right? That is translation. And then transliteration, which we are not going to focus in this class, but I want to introduce it to you. Transliterations. Transliteration means there are some words or concepts, some terminology that we transliterate. Transliteration means you take it from another language as it is, as it appears in another language, and you use it in your own language. For instance, karma. The word karma is not an English word, but you find that word in the Pali and Sanskrit, and you transliterate it in the same way in English as karma. Another example, nirvana. You find the word nirvana in Sanskrit, Sanskrit Tripitaka or Pali in nibbana, and you transliterate, you write the same word, same term in your own language. That is transliteration. In English letters, we write the same thing. That is transliteration. And the third one I want to say, interpretation. Interpretation is totally different from these two. You are interpreting the text in your hand, in front of you, or any other text. You are interpreting. You are providing your own understanding about the text. So which is far away from what we are talking in this course, okay? So these three things you have to basically recognize these three things. Okay, so we are going to focus on only the translation. When you are talking about the translation, terminology is really, really important. That's the structure. Without the terms, without the terminology, you cannot talk about any translation. Okay, and today our subject is to identify the available English translations of the Pali Canon. As I told you, the very first one is the Pali Text Society's translation. Pali Text Society's English translation of the Pali Canon, which was done in England by many scholars. Rhys Davids was the founder, beginner, and there were many others who were in the contributors of the project. And that edition is available. Pali Text Society edition is now available fully. Some of the maybe some of the texts are not available, maybe, but most of these, 90% is available in English translations. The thing is, the language, the terms that they invented, they chose at that time, looks like a little bit old now. 1890s and, beginning of the 20th century, that was a long time ago. So the parlance, the usage of English at that time was somewhat different from today's English. So you find some terms are sort of, how do I say, archaic or out of date. So now we have to think about better translation. The translations that go with this time, timely. So the best, some people ask, what is the best translation of the Pali Canon? Nobody can say this is the best translation, but you can choose whatever the translation you are dealing with, you have in your hand is the best translation. So another good translation right now available is Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. Bhikkhu Bodhi is a monastic, a monk, American monk, who lives in New York right now. And that monk has published, translated and published most of the texts of the Pali Canon. Most of the texts of the Pali Canon. And the language is academic language, understandable, readable, and highly faithful to the original texts. You understand what I mean, right? Highly faithful to the original text. So that means a exact translation. Highly accepted by the academics right now in the world. Okay, for Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations. And another translation is now available, freely available online. It is called, there's a very good website, Access to Insight. Access to Insight, run by Thanissaro Bhikkhu. His name is Thanissaro Bhikkhu. He's in San Diego, California, Metta Buddhist monastery. And he runs the translations. I think about over 75%, hopefully. I think about 75% is complete. They are freely available online. Acceptable, good translation. And there's another monk. All these three people are monk, okay? Monk Sujato, Venerable Sujato. He has a website called Sutta Central. Sutta Central. In there, you find all the translations of the Pali Canon in different languages, of course, not just English, but many other languages, Chinese and modern languages. So that's a very good source for you to understand the terms, terminology, Buddhist terminology. Okay. So Sujato Bhikkhu, his translation in Sutta Central. It's called Sutta Central, the website. That translation is also acceptable and freely available. It's free. Anybody can have access to the that website, and you can read any of the texts in English language, many other languages too. So that's also an acceptable translation. And at the same time, there are many other translators nowadays, but not the complete. Some of the texts are translated by many different academics and scholars. So out of those things, we take the standard terminology that these scholars are using to translate the original texts. Okay, that is our scope, our area that we are going to cover. So I recommend you to do a little research about the translations of Pali Canon, English translations of the Pali Canon, many different ones. So just do a little research on that, and then you will get more, you will experience a little bit of what a vast subject this is. Pali Canon, as you saw last week, is a huge collection. So translating all those texts by one person is a gigantic task, very big task. So that's why it is not complete yet. Some of the authors, some of the translators, they couldn't come up with the complete translation because it's lifelong process. So anyhow, just take a look at this website, suttacentral.net. Okay, that's one. And access to insight. Access to insight. And then Bhikkhu Bodhi's translations. They are available online. Just take a look. I'm not asking you to read all of them. Just, just see what they are and who they are. Who these translators are. All those monks are American monks, except Sujato. Others are American monks. So just do a little research on them. And then we are going to focus on the terms, that standard terminology that these translators make use of. What are the standard terms they use? For instance, now you saw that Tripitaka has three divisions, right? Sutta, Vinaya, and Abhidhamma. Sutra, Vinaya, and Abhidhamma. What are the translations, terms for these Pali words? So Sutta Pitaka, standard terminology to translate that thing is you can say Sutra Pitaka, that is transliteration, right? If you say Sutra Pitaka, that is transliteration. And usually Sutra is a Sutta or Sutra, Sutta in Pali, Sutra in Sanskrit. Standard English translation for that is discourse. Buddha gave his teachings in different occasions, in different places, and they are taken as discourse, deliver. So Sutta, standard translation term is discourse. So the Sutra Pitaka is the basket of discourses. Pitaka means basket, discourse, sutra, so basket of discourses. Okay, and Vinaya is the rules, disciplinary rules of the monks and nuns. That's the Vinaya, discipline, Vinaya. And third one is Abhidhamma Pitaka. Abhidhamma, you use the same word sometimes, and in some standard translation is the further, higher Dhamma or further Dhamma. The standard words are sort of transliterations. So in this way, there are terms, specific terminology to identify these things. So in our readings in the future classes, we will be able to see the in different areas, like in Buddha's teachings, there are many different areas. So what sort of terms we use in our translations, in the English translations today. But today, for now, or today, your task is to do a little research on the available English translations of the Pali Canon. I told you 3 important things. You may find more online. So just do a little research and gather or collect English translations of the Pali Canon. And then we know what type of area we are going to deal in this class. Okay. With that, I think I stop today's lecture, leaving you some homework. So please do the homework. You will get it in your email and submit your homework within the week. If you have any questions also, please contact me through the email. And that's it for today. Thank you so much. Have a nice week.